Hi, welcome to the Bike Shop at Dalval High School. I'm Paul Grasecci, and today we're going to talk about how to use the different repair stands we have, how to use the work order to inspect the bicycle, and actually do a bicycle inspection. The first stand we're going to talk about is a Park Tool PCS9. This is a great portable home mechanic repair stand. As you can see, it's very easily moved. It has wide feet for stability. And it has a pretty versatile head on it. With this style head, you can take your bike, mount it to the frame, spin the handle, and tighten it down, and the bike will stay there. The other nice feature about this stand is with about a quarter turn, half a turn of the knob in the back there, you can take and rotate the bike a full 360 degrees and put it wherever it is you're working on. So if you're working on your rear derailleur, you can have your rear derailleur at eye level. Next style stand we want to talk about is a Park Tool PCS1. As you can see, it has wider feet and a deeper inset, which might work out for someone in a wheelchair. Although I personally have not had the opportunity to test this yet, this would be my choice. With this stand, same thing, we take our bike, we mount it in the job, only instead of screwing it down, it's a single pushback clamp that holds the bike. Like the other model, with the turn of the handle, you can rotate your bike 360 degrees and put it wherever you want it. Let's say you're working on the rear brakes. You can put the rear brakes about chin or eye level height. Tighten down the rotator level, and there you go. The third style stand we have here is a Park Tool PCS 101. This is a professional quality bike stand that you would find in a bicycle repair shop. As you can see on this stand, we actually have two of the PCS 101-1 clamps on it. So this stand is capable of working on two bikes at once. Just like with the other bikes, the other racks, on here, we simply, we're gonna have to open this job a little bit to do that. We're gonna spin this thumb screw backwards, and it opens the job. And we're able to put the bike in and tighten it. On this style, when you tighten the clamp, you want to have a little force behind it. That way the bike doesn't slide around when you spin it. Again, like the other two racks, about a quarter turn, half turn, will allow you to spin the bike 360 degrees around. This is a great, well, when we don't run into the stand, you can. This is a great feature for working on bikes. Now that you've seen the three different style repair stands we have, one thing I wanted to point out is you want to be aware of the cables. You have your front derailleur, your rear derailleur, and your rear brake. They kind of fade into the bike, so you want to be careful not to pinch them off when you're clamping them off. Now that we know how to mount the bikes, we're going to come back over here to this magnet and we're going to check it out. First thing we need to do is we look at the tag number on the handlebars. This one is number 686. We're going to go right over here to our work orders. These are work orders for bikes to be worked on. And we're going to find number 686. Written in the upper right hand corner, it's a 24-inch magnet. we're going to grab a clipboard and a pencil. Then we're going to go back over to the bike. As you can see with the work order, it's pretty well detailed on the steps to take to look at the bike. You will start off by putting your name and the date you started the inspection. Now let's go over to the bike. Okay, first thing on here is it wants us to look at the seat and the seat post. Is the seat in good working order? Is the post able to be adjusted? And is there anything that needs to be addressed? So we're looking at our seat. The material's in pretty good shape. The seat's fastened tight to the post, and the post is secure by the post clamp, which looks to be in pretty good working order. So we're gonna write down okay here. I'm gonna sign for the student. In my notes, I'm gonna put good. Next is the frame. Is the frame in good working order? Is there any noticeable cracks? What we're gonna do is we're gonna take a look at all the different weld points where the pieces of the frame come together, because that's where it's more likely to crack. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this because I have previously inspected this bike, but here are the areas that you want to look. Okay, so I'm going to say that's good. Next, we're going to look at the handlebars. Are the handlebars in good working order? Are they bent? Are the grips in good shape? They're not torn, they're not sticky. Does it need handlebar tape if it's equipped? Is everything in good shape? So we're going to look at the grips. The grips appear to be good shape. The ends are not torn. And the same on this one. It's in good shape. The ends are not torn. The handlebar, where it goes through the gooseneck, appears to be tight and in its proper place. So we're going to say that's good. Okay, next we drop down to pedals. Are the pedals secure? Do they spin freely? Do they have reflectors? Okay, so this pedal appears to be in good shape. It has both reflectors, as does this one. If I was doing an actual inspection, we would get the pedal wrench or a 15 millimeter wrench and make sure both pedals are very secure, that they're not going to come loose while you're riding. So I'm going to write down in my notes, I'm going to write check pedal tightness. Okay, now we're going to drop down to tubes and tires. Are they in good working order? Are there any bulges, cracks, cuts in the sidewall? Do the tires have good tread? Do they hold air? Is the valve stem centered in the rim? Do they do they spin freely? I can read. And are they bent? So for this, we're going to look at the tire sidewalls. Okay, these look in pretty good shape. When they crack, they tend to crack along the tread line. As you can see, the tread on the tire is in pretty good shape. Now this is a groove from the manufacturer. Those aren't cuts where the mold comes together when they're pouring it. Okay, tire's pretty tight. Seems to have proper pressure, but we will check air, so we're gonna make a note of that. And we'll do a quick inspection of the front tire. Appears to be in good shape with good tread. So we're gonna make a note so we don't forget to check air pressure. Okay, we did not see any bulges, any worn bad spots, and The tread is good. Okay, next we're going to go down to brakes. Do the brakes work correctly? Do they rub on the rim? Are the cables and housings in good working order? So first thing we're going to do, here are our brake handles up top here. As you can see, the housing comes down and along underneath the clamp to the rear brakes. Now, as you can see, we did not pinch that cable when we mounted the bike. There's a groove in the stand that allows for that. So when we pull on the rear brake, you can see the arms pushing the brake pads up against their wheel. And we're going to want to adjust the brakes just a little bit tighter, but it stops pretty good. And let's go ahead and check the front brakes. Same thing, we have our brake handle, comes down and around to our front brakes. Here's the actual cable. We're going to pull on the brakes and it grabs up against the tire. And as you can see, this one locks up pretty well. So we're going to call that good. So we're going to write on our work order to adjust the rear brakes. Now these notes will help when you go to start doing the repairs. They're just kind of little reminders so you don't forget anything. So again, with a half turn, we can take and move this bike upside down and lock it in place. So we're going to inspect our chain. I'm going to pedal backwards and kind of keep an eye on the derailleur gears and the rear gear to make sure that the chain is traveling smoothly. Okay, if the chain happens to pop up like that as it's going around, this one does not, you know you have a frozen chain and that'll need to be replaced. This one looks in pretty good shape, so we just want to lubricate it, clean it and lubricate it for longer life. On the other side, we want to check our kickstand. Let me get the pedal out of the way. The kickstand appears to be mounted securely. It comes up nicely and stays up. Excuse me, down nicely and stays down. I'm upside down here. And goes back up correctly. Stays tight. It's out of the way of the pedal and out of the way of where your foot would travel. So all we'd want to do here is put some WD-40 or some type of lubricant on that spring to give it longer life. So on the kickstand, we're going to put lubricate, kickstand. Okay, shifters. We'll come back over to the other side of the bike here, and this is our front derailleur, and this is our rear derailleur. That's where you get your gears from. Okay, as you can see, it says right here, this is a 10-speed, which means there's going to be 5 gears back here, 2 gears up here. Your shifters on this one are on the handlebars, and you operate them with your thumb. Remember, when shifting gears, you always want to be pedaling. Okay. So if you watch back here, we just moved to second gear, third, fourth, and 5th. Excuse me. So on this other side, as you can see, we are on the smaller gear. So we want to come up to the upper gear, which it does very smoothly. And we want to be able to come back down, which it does smoothly. And the same on the rear gears. We want to come back down from 5, 4, 3, 2, and finally 1. Okay, so the gears are working correctly. If we needed to adjust the derailleur, we have 2 little set screws here. One is for the high gear, one is for the low gear. This sets the set point of the derailleur, or how far the derailleur is allowed to travel. That way it doesn't come off the gears and rub against the frame, or come off the gears and fall off the wheel, causing damage to your knees usually. And on the front derailleur, it's the same thing. The tiny screws are down here to adjust how far it travels up and how far it travels down. So for our shifters, we're going to say they're good. And the same with the derailleurs. The derailleurs are functioning smoothly, which tells me that the shifter, the cable, and the housing are all in good shape. So for here, we will take the cable loose and we will run some oil down in the cable. That way, if there's any water or moisture in that cable, the oil will absorb it and make that last longer, as well as lubricate the inside of the housing so the cable continues to slide smoothly. So after inspecting this bike, we can see that we need to remember to tighten the pedals when we start our repairs. We need to check the air pressure in the tires. And when we're doing that, we want to make sure the valve stem is centered and pointing up. A lot of people, when they put tires back together, the tube is off to one side or the other. What happens over time is this metal rim will cut into the rubber tube or the rubber stem, and it destroys the tube because it cuts into it and it will no longer hold air. We need to adjust our rear brakes to get them a little bit tighter for better stopping. We need to clean and lubricate our chain. We need to lube our kickstand. And we need to lube our shifters. Other than that, pretty good shape. And remember, if any time during any of this process you need help, let me know. I'm here to help you. Thank you very much and have a great day.